Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Shared Discovery, the show and podcast dedicated to sharing all the exciting, enjoyable aspects of games and gaming. I'm your host, Victor. Today I'm joined by Xander. How have you been?
Tired.
Tired?
I've been pulling all-nighters playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. You finally got it.
Yeah.
The last time you were here, we were talking about you playing Breath of the Wild, getting ready for Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Does it hold up?
Absolutely. It is definitely better than Breath of the Wild.
You like it better?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot more. I like the underground.
Okay.
I thought I wasn't,
Yeah.
but I like the chasm.
Okay. I hear it's blowing everyone, all expectations out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
So you like the three levels. You like the sky, middle, underground?
The sky, not as much.
Not as much?
Because there's not actually as much as I thought there was going to be.
Okay.
There's only a few archipelagos scattered throughout the map.
Interesting. So this is actually, you talking about Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom is perfect, because today we're talking about speedrunning. Speedrunning, my favorite little corner of gaming, right? We'll get into what it is, but you already told me what it is earlier. Tell them.
Game go fast.
Game go fast. So we're going to talk about, for an hour, we're not going to go fast, but we're going to talk about games going fast. So this is a perfect topic. We've been talking about Breath of the Wild for a while. I love speedruns ever since I've watched Small Ant, Point Crow. I watch a Pokemon speedrun channel called Scott's Thoughts. He does Gen 1 speedruns.
Scott the Waz.
Scott the Waz, I haven't heard of that.
He's cool.
Is he cool? Okay.
Just talks about Nintendo stuff.
Okay, cool. So I'm sure he knows Nintendo speedruns. So we're going to talk about, today we're going to talk about what they are, how you can get into speedrunning, the different versions of the community you can participate in, right? Today we're fans and viewers, but maybe you want to be a speedrunner, so we're going to teach you that.
Yeah.
And before we get into that, just really excited to say that the show is finally on Spotify. So get out there and check that out.
Yeah.
And the YouTube, it's officially out. This is going to be 10 weeks later. But, But it's still fun.
It's been out for 10 weeks.
It's fun to say. It's been out for 10 weeks. Go watch all 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, actually 12 weeks. This is episode 12. Go watch all 12 and come back. So you want to get into this? You want to talk about speedrun?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
HTV. No.
Yeah, so I put a couple links in here, and these are the references that I use for building this episode, because
we might put them in the description.
we had to do our research, right? We're not speedrunners, we're fans, so we got to know what we're talking about. So the main two resources that I have here are from speedrun.com, and they have a knowledge base.
They have that's the whole place where people submit their speedruns.
Oh, absolutely. Speedrun.com. If you're going to be a speedrunner, you got to know this website. Yeah. There are a lot of resources, but this is a huge hub for speedrunners. And then the other source I got is Reddit, of all things.
Yeah. Reddit's a nightmare.
And it's actually from this specific, it's not, well, it can be pros and cons. The big pro here is that they have a really good speedrunning community.
Oh, yeah.
And I got this post from an Angry Panda, that's their username, nice. And they actually detailed 9 steps on how to get into speedrunning. So we're going to talk about that today.
A bit later.
So, but before we go in, I did want to talk a little bit about speedrun.com, because like you said, it's like a main resource.
It's the main place where people submit their speedruns. I mean, all of them. Almost all of them are on YouTube.
Yeah, so
and that's actually you submit the video.
To do a speedrun, you have to submit a video of you completing it. And what speedrun.com does is it provides leaderboards, resources, references, the records. So any speedrun that you want to do. Say I want to do a Pokemon speedrun. We did a Pokemon episode, maybe I want to do Pokemon speedrun. I boot up, I look up the game, and okay, Pokemon Blue. I can see the time that it took for the world record, and any time I can click on that and watch how they did it. It's a very important tool, which we'll talk about today, because I actually practiced a little. Just for this episode, I practiced a little.
I just watched Point Crow.
I followed Angry Panda's techniques. But speedrun.com is huge. It has amassed 3,859,260 individual runs across over 34,000 games.
That's insane.
So there's a community for so many games, so many runs, so many content, and there are over 1.5 million users on the website.
So everyone's done it at least twice.
Everyone has done a lot of them.
Yeah. Well,
If we do the math,
do the math, it's around twice.
Right.
It's around twice, average.
We're not mathematicians.
Just math.
We're just math.
We're just-
So
I am math.
they say it's important. They welcome all speedrunners. They welcome all fans there, all people in the community, right? And so, like I already said, a lot of the knowledge is going to come from there, and it's going to come from an Angry Pandas. I love that name, by the way.
Yeah, that's a great
That's
name.
a great name.
That's a
An
great
Angry Pandas Reddit post. So, but listen, before we go, what do? We always define what we're talking about. So tell them what is speedrunning. The actual you already told them game go fast, but what's the definition?
Mine is game go fast, but the actual one is speedrunning is when an individual attempts to beat part or all of a video game as quickly as possible. This can include individual levels, specific objectives, or unique limitations decided by the community or player.
Absolutely. So I ripped that straight from speedrun.com because I felt like we needed.
You stole it from speedrunning.com?
Listen, I referenced them. I used the source appropriately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we cited
We cited our source, yes. So this is a very clear definition of what we're going to be basing the whole episode off of. Yes, simply, it is game go fast.
Game go fast.
But what you're going to be doing, and we'll go over different categories of what that means, is you working with the community, you define how you're going to go fast in whatever game you choose to play, whatever game is fun for you. So we'll get into that as we go. But most games can actually be speedrun, but there are a few categories where that really doesn't work. So I wanted to mention that here. And so again, looked on a couple Reddit posts, and some people said that games with a fixed time limit, so a game where you have 1 minute to get this many points, not really great for, not able to be speedrun.
I almost said Mario Party, but no.
Because the main metric for a speedrun is time. Everything you're trying to do, every speedrun you're trying to get a faster time. So games where it's always the same amount of time can't really be speedrun.
Yeah.
So that's one caveat that I saw there. And then another one that I saw is games generally where the goal is to just survive. Survive for this amount of time. There's no, unless you find a glitch to speed through that, right? To go move the timer forward. Remember, if time is not moving, if you can't speed up the time somehow in a game, it can't be speed.
You just said reminded me of an objective in Halo Reach,
Okay.
where it just says survive and you physically cannot do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The
What is
game
that
makes
about?
It's the final thing in the game, and the game makes you die.
Oh no.
Like, you cannot survive it.
Oh man. So they're like, see you next time.
We'll see you in the next
See you in the
Halo
next game. Okay. So that's what speedrunning is. Just remember that an individual, and that's another caveat, is most multiplayer competitive games can't be speedrun. There's some games where players, co-op games, work together to do a speedrun, but you're trying to beat the game as fast as possible. So like a multiplayer game like Call of Duty, you're not really gonna be able to speedrun, but a lot of people will speedrun the zombie levels or the campaign levels. There has to be a consistency to what you're speedrunning. So what does it look like if we join the community, right? What are the different roles? And what speedrun.com said is that there's this misnomer that if you're going to be part of the community, you have to be a runner. No, there's all kinds of roles, and all of these build the community as a whole. So you have game moderators. These are people on the speedrun.com, on Discord, that are making sure that the rules are being followed. They're verifying the times of the players, watching their submitted views. They're making sure all of the rules are clear for speedruns, and they know the games well enough to do this.
Yeah. They're probably runners themselves.
They probably are, because you have to have such a knowledge of the game to, when someone submits a speedrun, to know what they're doing, if it's cheating, if it's spliced together, what tricks they're using, if it's a glitch, if it's a cheat. You have to know all of these things. Yeah. So that is probably a really high level of responsibility in the community, right? But today we're here to talk mainly about runners.
Yeah.
And so But after runners, you have glitch hunters and routers. So these are people that are looking for the game-breaking bugs and glitches that allow people to go fast in a game, to beat Dark Souls in less than an hour. That's the
How does that work?
It's crazy. We could talk about that a little bit later.
Like Breath of the Wild, the wind bomb allows you to launch yourself.
Yes, yeah, the Breath of the Wild speedrun's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's down to like 25 minutes or something.
It's very competitive.
Very competitive. And so what these glitch hunters and routers will do, these are the people that help the runners succeed. They're looking for the glitches in the game that make it possible to go faster in a game. They're trying every combination, every weird spot in the game to try to say, try this. This will give you 30 seconds. This will save you this much time. And then routers, these are really important for open world games. You and I talked about open world games a little while back, but these are important because open world games can go anywhere. So routers is someone who's going to try all of these paths and say, this is the most optimal speed that you can have.
Yeah, and people are still trying to do that from Mario Odyssey.
Really? Wow. I know that Tears of the Kingdom's been out about a month now. Yeah. And there's already been a lot of optimizations in that.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try.
Not even going to try. Well, I mean, you could watch it.
Give me 2 years.
There you go. Give it 2 years. You can also be tool developers because there are tool-assisted speedruns, which are tools that allow us to hit inputs that humans might not be able to do.
I want to see a robot.
A robot?
Like actually, like a robot actually trying to do a speed.
Yeah, program a robot to do the speed run. So these are programmers that are saying, like, I know you're going to play this speed run. Let's give you a tool to do all the theoretically possible things, the things that you have to be able to hit on a single frame. Well, let's get a tool to do that, right? And you can just be designers or artists. You can make layouts for people. You can make art for the community of famous speedrunners, right?
Famous clips.
Designer. We can make famous clips, right? So I would also say that YouTubers that discuss and share information about speedruns and make it digestible probably fall into this category too. And the next category, so fans and viewers. That's us. That's us.
That's me.
Yes. Not a designer. Maybe we're artists. I just said that. We're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're the fans. We're really interested in watching these people succeed. And the community needs fans and viewers just as much.
Yeah.
Right? And something I wanted to put here is there is actually a speedrunning convention. There's 2 of them a year. I think it's called Games Done Quick. And there's a summer one and a fall one. Sorry if I'm messing that up. I was listening to a podcast about it recently. And it's a multiple day event where it's scheduled out different blocks of speedrunning. So you'll have your popular games like Mario, the Marios, the Zeldas, Breath of the Wild, right? And then they'll have, the one I was listening to was 2021, and they had an animal block, right? So all games where you play as the animal. So one of the games was crab fight. So you're just like a giant crab fighting, and that was a speedrun category.
Crab rifle doing that.
Exactly. And so it's like, there's a huge community around this. All of the games are shared and saved on vlogs and put on YouTube, so you can see what the top tier speedrunners are working on. Mm-hmm. So when you find a game that you like, if you're a fan, a viewer, a glitch hunter, a runner, step 1, join the Discord.
Yeah.
Discords are huge wealths of knowledge.
We might make one.
We might. They might know about it in like another 2 months. Yeah. Because we're so ahead, but we might.
We're so ahead.
So find the game you like, join the Discord, and that typically has the runners, the information, the access to the forums, or the tool. The devs, a lot, yeah, absolutely. I know Terraria. I'm pretty sure their devs hang out in there, in the Discord there. So.
I mean, a lot of people use Discord.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very popular.
So we talked about what speedrunning is. We talked about joining the community. So let's go back to an Angry Panda's 9 steps of becoming a speedrunner.
Yes.
Because I will say here too, if you're already a speedrunner, and you're like, I want to try being a modder, Speedrun.com has a great list of steps on how to be, not a modder, a moderator.
Yeah.
If you want to become a moderator, check that out. We're not going to talk about that
Watch
here.
like 50,000 speedruns of.
Yeah, you get that knowledge base. But again, saying modding brings this up for me. Mods, we talked about this in the pre-show.
Yeah, Doug.
Yeah.
He basically mods. Point Crow, a different YouTuber, actually used one of his mods.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That said, like, I'm gonna try to do the any percent speedrun, but if I say this word, 50 of this spawn.
Oh.
Like bears.
Shrek was one of them.
That was a heavily modded one.
Yes, I saw, or Charizard was one of them. I saw
Yeah, there were 2 of them that he did. One where it was like just normal things, like fish.
just fish.
And then the other one where the modder just put skins on things.
Fantastic.
To change the way they look. They function the same way.
So modders rule. Modders make the community super fun. And so that would fit into this tool developer category. Sorry to forget you modders. We love you. You're awesome. And modders will make like randomized speedruns. They'll make like the mods that you were talking about.
Waikutaru.
What is that?
Waikutaru is a person.
Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome.
He mods.
He's a modder. Thank you for what you do.
He put one of the like old temples into Breath of the Wild.
Really? From an earlier game?
And it was either Skyward Sword or Ocarina of Time.
That's fantastic. Yes. So this brings brand new light to speedrunning.
Oh yeah.
So love you modders. So, So today we're going to talk about getting into speedrunning. So 9 steps. We're going to go back and forth. I'm going to start here with number 1. And an angry panda says, pick a game you love.
Yeah,
Say it
let's
again.
do that right now.
Pick a game you love.
Let's do it right now.
Okay, what are you going to pick?
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom?
Or Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Either.
All right, I picked a game earlier when I practiced, so I'm going to pick Terraria as my game. So these will be our bases of reference as we talk through these steps here. So you need to pick a game that you absolutely love, that you won't mind starting over and over and over and over again. You gotta love playing the game, right? I watched a Spyro speedrun, right? This is a PlayStation 1 little dragon gem hunting game. And there is this one spot where you use a technique where you get this rat in a corner and it springboards you higher. But when you get to that point in the game, the rat's not always there. So she did 2,000 runs. How many times do you think she was successful getting that rat to the corner?
47.
47, because I already told you this.
Yeah. I'm surprised I remembered that.
That's a 97% failure rate. But she did it. She has the world record now because she was persistent. So you're going to be doing it a lot. Make sure you like the game. I hope she likes Spyro.
Yeah.
After all this time, I really hope
Go
that
play
she likes
Skylanders.
it. So this means there's some games that you have to sit through a 10-minute intro, unskippable intro. Old games have that. Older games have those.
And newer Pokemon games.
Newer Pokemon games, yeah, you're gonna have to go through that. Legends Arceus is a big one. You have
An hour of cutscenes at the beginning.
You can shrink it down to like 12 to 15 if you're really mashing, really button mashing.
That's me when I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom.
But that's a lot, though.
This is the first time I've played it, and I'm just like,
you want to get to the speed run, so you've got to really like the game, right? And then I kind of jumped ahead here, but there are RNG, so random number generator is what that's called. That means when something happens randomly in the game that you can't account for. No matter how much skill you have, no matter how much skill that runner for Spyro has. I'm sorry that I didn't look up your name. I apologize for that. Awesome speedrun, but there's nothing she could do. No amount of skill would change where that rat would be. Right? So you gotta love the game enough to deal with the RNG, especially in Pokemon games. Crits are gonna happen.
And you're never guaranteed a certain Pokemon.
Misses are gonna happen. You're not guaranteed a certain Pokemon. There are optimizations that have happened in the Pokemon community to try to make sure you land on the perfect stat Pokemon, but There's only so much you can do.
there's
Those
only so
games are RNG ridden. So you can get to the end, this is the one, and then you get crit.
Yeah.
And a crit is critically hit, meaning in earlier gens, I think it did double damage. So those early games, the crit would just cause their attack to hit you for twice the normal amount of damage. So you gotta be...
Draco Meteor hits you for 220 damage.
Yes. You gotta love the game. Step one. We picked our game.
That's step one.
And so I think it's important here, you picked your game that you love, pick a category.
Pick a category.
So the category, there are three main categories, and pre-show we were talking about a different category here, which we'll get to in a second.
Fun category.
The fun category, but the first category is a 100%. Straightforward, right? You're completing the entire game. This can often include completing certain objectives, lists, completing all key items, all side quests, etc. What counts as 100% will vary for each game.
Yeah.
Some games aren't possible to do 100%, others take a long time but are doable.
Breath of the Wild takes forever, and you never know what you're missing.
I think we looked, it was 18 hours?
15, I think?
Oh, it's down?
I think.
Okay.
I think it's been 15 for
Okay.
a while.
That's, how long do you think it took you to beat Breath of the Wild? This is a perfect example of what going fast is.
Well, it took me a few days because I only play for a little bit.
By the time, like,
Although-
like 60 hours, 40, 60?
20.
20, okay. So for you, it took 20 hours just to beat the main
I've
game.
been playing Tears of the Kingdom for around 60 already,
Wow.
and I'm still not done because I was stuck on a boss.
Yes.
23 tries.
And we're going to talk about that soon when we get to the practice section, right? And so 100%, it's going to vary, right? But think about Breath of the Wild. They dropped it down to like 15 to 18 hours. I don't want to
Without
misspeak.
doing the...
With everything. That's all 900 Koraks. That's
Yeah.
all shrines.
Oh, the
that's
Koroks are gonna...
collecting
Oh.
everything.
Oh, you know that thing you get once you collect all 900 Koroks?
Yeah.
It's there again in...
It's there again. Are there more Koraks in
There's
Tears
1,000.
They upped it. They had to mess with you.
They upped it. And they gave you the same stupid gift.
So that's 100%. Pretty straightforward. Not always rewarded in the game, but as speedrunners, we're going to be rewarded with better and better times.
Yeah.
So any percent is the next category. This is for those who simply want to complete the game as fast as possible. Any percent is about finding the shortest way to the goal,
Yeah.
right? And the goal typically in games is getting the end credits,
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Breath of the Wild, you don't have to do the 4 other things to go to the main boss. You can go straight to the main boss. And that's like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's fast. It's super fast. And then
Most of that's on the starter area.
oh yeah, because you have to beat that before you can move to the rest of the game. But once you're off there, boom. That is actually, I think that's a really like beginner-friendly speedrun to watch because they're going fast. They're using a lot of tricks and techniques. You're gonna be amazed by what speedrunners.
And then once you beat Ganon the first time, you have to beat him again. But once you get to that second fight, you know you're gonna do it because it's so easy.
You got it figured out because of the speedrun. So in the any percent here, if you like going very fast and using a variety of the glitches and tricks that you may have found or the glitch hunters have found, that's probably the category for you.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I don't want to use those glitches, I don't want to fall through the floor, I don't want to do anything janky, I just want to play the game very fast, the next category is called glitchless. So it's a category that avoids using those glitches to complete the game. It can rely on tricks, but you won't need to learn any of those glitches, the falling through the floor or warp glitches. You just want to use what the game gives you, right, on paper, without glitches, get to the end as fast as possible by optimization. But the fourth category, tell them what the fourth category we came up with is.
The fun category.
Yeah, so
Basically,
what were you telling me with this one? From
there-
Breath of the Wild.
one of my favorite speedruns of all time is called Dog Percent, or all dog treasures technically, but everyone calls it Dog Percent because that's easier and more adorable to say.
It is, yes.
Where you have to go around, you have to feed all the dogs, all 16 dogs
16?
throughout Hyrule.
Wow.
I mean, there are more, but only 16 give you, like, once you feed it, leads you to a treasure chest.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
But a big part of it, some dogs won't appear unless you build an entire
Oh
town.
gosh, you got to do a whole chain of side quests before you can even pet the dog. Two. Okay.
Two. Getting your house, like you have to buy a house.
That could be tedious.
And then you have to bring this guy like over like 100 pieces of wood.
My gosh, that's
Or 100
a
bundles of wood.
grind.
That's a yeah.
So I assume with that speed run, you're doing that along the way
Yeah.
of the other dogs, and that's
all
probably
the
the
things
last
you need
one.
to feed
Yeah,
dogs.
okay. So you are getting the food, the things you need to feed, and then that one, you're probably getting the money and the wood along the way?
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's routing, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. That's what some of the in the community will help you figure out. But the fun percent, pick a game, you go to speedrun.com, it'll show you the categories. It'll show you 100%, any percent glitchless, and then there will be category extensions. This will see where you see like the categories that people thought were fun. The butter percent you talked about.
Butter dog percent.
Butter dog
You have to
percent.
put you have to put butter on a dog's head.
Yeah, so these are the categories that people just think are funny, fun, unique.
Yeah.
Go in there and do that. So in Terraria, I actually practiced one of these fun percents. So in Terraria, pre-hard mode, so in Terraria it's split into pre-hard mode and post-hard mode, and you get to hard mode by defeating a boss, a specific
The wall of flesh.
the wall of flesh, as it's called. You go down to the underworld or hell, and you beat the wall of flesh, and it starts hard mode, which opens up new gear, new bosses, everything,
Yeah.
and new NPCs. But pre-hard mode, there are 4 swords that you can get, 4 pretty rare swords, and you can craft them into making the strongest pre-hard mode sword called Knight's Edge. So I picked this
What you
one.
need for the zenith.
That is part of the strongest sword in the game, but I picked how long can it take me to get Knight's Edge, right? The world record's 15 minutes. I practiced that. So we'll talk about that as we go.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I have another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jane Animations, a famous-ish YouTuber, did Cookie Mama all gold percent.
Okay.
But she accidentally started another one, burnt apple pie percent. Where you have to
Interesting.
go and burn an apple pie as fast
As fast as possible? Huh. How long do you think that takes?
You could go straight to the apple pie one, and
Really?
you can knock it out in under a minute.
Under a minute? Oh, yes. Some of these speedruns are ridiculous. I watched a old Minecraft one. How long does it take to get to Bedrock? So he boots the game, and he has 2 hands on his mouse, and he goes, and it takes 1 second, 1.2 seconds. And
Yeah.
the video is hilarious. He's like, I think that's it. I think that's a record. He got it.
Yeah.
So they're,
That's Minecraft Classic.
yes, classic. So those are the fun speedruns. So those are like the 4 main categories. So step 1, pick a game you love, pick the category you want to do. So what is step 2?
Do your research. Don't go in blind unless you want to. There are blind speedruns.
It is recommended to just play the game first.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
But speedrunning, and blind will have 2 definitions for this, right? And Point Crow's to thank for this.
Yes, Point Crow. Actually blindfolded.
Physically blindfolded is a category of speedrunning.
Yeah, he just put a blindfold on, memorized everything he has to do
Yep.
to get to a certain spot.
Well, he might not be the credit for it, but might not be the sole credit for this,
He is the most.
but he's the most well-known. He did all of Breath of the Wild like that, wasn't it?
No, just getting out of the Great Plateau and getting to the main boss.
Which is amazing. He did an any percent speedrun blindfolded.
Yeah.
And the Games Done Quick convention I was telling you about, the 2021, someone did Mario 64 blindfolded. They did 70 stars.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so that's blind, physically blind, and then we have
Or X blindfolded.
cognitively blind, which is you've just never played it before.
Yeah, this is your first time.
First
boot
time,
up the game.
boot up the game, first time, no knowledge, no nothing, go.
You're just going.
We don't recommend that. We're on step 2. We're talking about research. So
Play the game, not blind speedrun though.
you have a base. It's a game you love. You've played it before, right?
Yeah.
So now, how do you go about doing the research? What are you looking for?
go to Pinecrow's YouTube channel and watch his YouTube videos.
He only plays a couple games, though. So what if I'm trying to find a weird one?
Speedrun.com.
Speedrun.com. Step 1, you're going to look up that world record. And remember, every video is attached to
Although there's
record.
a chance that no one has ever speedrun your game before,
There is a
which
chance.
would make you world record holder.
It would.
For a little bit.
And so, yeah, this is interesting to talk about. If the game's not there that you want to speedrun, you can actually apply to be a moderator and get that game added to the website.
Yeah, Jane Animations did that with Cooking Mama 2.
Exactly. So if you can show that there's interest, that there's something unique and desirable about the speedrun, you can apply to become a moderator for the game. So, but we've picked a game that we love that's already on there. We're going to look up the world record. We're going to watch it. We're going to watch it a few times. We're going to slow down. We're going to rewatch it.
Remember to take notes.
Yes, this is huge. And
Like a history class.
An Angry Panda in his Reddit post bolded, capitalized it. Take notes.
Oh.
It's important. That tells me it's important.
Doubly important.
Very important. So you're going to take notes, whatever that may be for you, notepad, on your phone, physically written. He even said that if you can have mental notes, right? But he recommends writing it down and then just to get that in your head. So take notes of what the world record holder is doing, right? And you want to check the statistics for various things relevant to the game. So that would be a thing like finding the splits.
Yeah.
Right? So a split in a speedrun is, if you go watch anyone speedrun, they'll have a timer on the side, and then they'll have different little mile markers, of which are called splits, that denote certain milestones that they're trying to meet in the game. So for Pokemon games, it's typically gym leader, rival battle, gym leader, and what these do is they hope to tell you how long should it take me to get to this portion of the game? How long should it take me to do this portion of the game?
Yeah, going back to dog percent, some splits are getting each dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Like dogs. Any percent speedrun is the 4 main shrines and the tower.
Yes.
To unlock the map for that area, but whatever.
Exactly. So that can tell you, maybe you missed a jump, you forgot something. You can see how far behind you are on this split and you run, and you can say, can I make up this time in another split, right? So look up those statistics. And another form of statistics too, like material heavy games, right? For Terraria, I need to get a certain amount of materials to make all the swords that I need, right? For the Knight's Edge run. Yeah. So I did the research on, I need this much ore, I need this many bombs, I need this much obsidian. Yeah, you actually need bombs because...
Is there a bomb sword?
No, there's not a bomb sword, but you can get bombs that will blow up blocks, right? So what you need is, there is a boss that you need to beat by crushing what are they called, these hearts, right? But they're in blocks that you can't mine until you get a higher level pickaxe, but the bombs can just go right past that. So you're looking early on to get 5 to 10 bombs so you can blow up those hearts and keep moving, right? Nice. So I did this, I found those statistics, so I got them in my head. It is the brain of Cthulhu.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So it's a hard one. I got
the brain of Cthulhu.
I got there in practice one time, and it killed me. So that shows you how my practice went. So research, right? So after we've done our research, we've practiced, it's not the most fun part of speedrunning.
No.
Right? But it's really important. You'll be glad you did it. I was really glad I spent time watching the world record, wrote down those numbers, so when I was practicing, I didn't have to keep referring back to my sheet and be like, okay, do I have enough of this, or do I have enough iron bar? I had it locked in. I did my practice. So step 3, you're going to get your baseline, right? Before you can do that, you need a couple of resources. You need a way to record your speedrun, and you need a timer, right? And the most commonly used recording software is called OBS Studio. It is a free and open source software for video recording live streaming. It's necessary because to submit any speedrun, we talked about this earlier, to submit any speedrun, you have to have proof.
Yeah.
You're not just going to take any time.
You're going to put it on YouTube.
You're going to put it on YouTube. It doesn't have to be like, it can be an unlisted video, but the moderators need to prove that you did it.
Yeah.
So that's OBS that can record your screen for you as you play. And then there are a lot of timers, but the timer that I've seen used a lot and that I used for mine is called Live Split. It is a sleek, highly customizable timer for speedrunners. It has a lot of customization options. You can make splits, you can add different color schemes and backgrounds to it.
People just go with the green.
Well, most people just go with something simple. But what is really cool, it'll overlay on top of your game, so you can always see the time as you're running. You can always see your splits as you're doing
Just
runs.
hope it doesn't overlay on something important.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really easy to move around since there's an option to just put it on top, and there's an option to toggle to lock it as well. So you can pick the spot where it's not covering anything in your game. So those are the resources you need. Get that up, get that going, then do a casual run.
Yeah.
Right? This is where you're going to start practicing the techniques, the glitches, the splits in the research that you've been doing, right? So one of the techniques I had to practice in Terraria is oftentimes water will spawn, lakes will spawn, and you can jump and then sink to the bottom, then walk up. But if you get platforms and you time it right, you can place them on top of the water, bounce off of the platform, and keep going. It's hard.
It's like a Minecraft thing where
hard
you have
to
to
do.
place boats on lava.
Yes, it's a hard technique, but I was practicing. I was running over and over water and trying to practice the plank.
Yeah. For this one, don't try your hardest to go fast.
Don't try to go fast.
try
Just
to get
practice
those-
these techniques. Practice the things you were researching.
Yeah.
So do a casual run. Abuse the save states, he says, if you need to. Just keep going, practice over and over. You just want to get a run that you're okay with, right? You want to go beginning to end, get a time. You're going to compare this time for the rest of your practice, and this is going to be your baseline. So as you're practicing, you're going to keep trying to beat that time. It doesn't have to be good, just be something that you're happy with. Say, I succeeded, in whatever measure that is for you. Let's move on, right?
Yeah.
So after you've done that, load the world record time in the same way you timed yours and compare. See how they timed, see what they did to succeed, right? And I skipped ahead, we already talked about splits, but see what splits that they used.
Yeah. See
See what splits the world record holders used. And something I found in my research is a lot of the top speedrunners will actually save their loadouts. And so you can just copy that and be like, and use the splits they use too.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild, most people use the same one.
Exactly, right? So that gives you comparison for yourself and the community. So after that,
Learning time.
step 4,
Time to practice.
is practice time.
Practice, 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 practice.
Yep.
That's
So
all it is.
you got your baseline, you went beginning to end, did a little practice, but this is the real practice section. You're gonna break all of those tricks. You're gonna figure out how to do the glitches, the menu operations, whatever you need to learn for your game, right? So for Gotcha Force back here, I looked that up. That's a GameCube game that I have. It wasn't printed much. It's like $1,000. But what they'll do early in the game is there's like 20 menus that you use your characters, you move your characters around in, and they'll actually move those around in a way to code the game.
Oh,
So they will code in a specific, the characters are called Borgs, they'll code in the specific Borgs that they need for the rest of the run. So learn that.
Yikes.
I watched it, it was a very specific, like, boom, move this here, move this here, move this here, move this into this menu, move this into this menu. Coding, so learn that, tricks.
yeah, with Breath of the Wild, learn wind bombs.
Wind
Which is
bombs.
very,
Are you able to do wind bomb?
no.
Like, what is it?
You have to have your paraglider, a bow, and the bomb runes.
Okay.
You need to jump off a ledge, go into bullet time, which means you just pull out your bow.
Kind of slow-mo a little bit. Yep.
It is very slow-mo.
Sure.
You place a bomb behind you. It will just float in the air
Yeah.
because time is slowed. You switch to the other bomb, place that one, which will be in front of the other one, but still behind you.
Okay.
Go back to the first one, blow up the first one, it'll launch the other one into you, launching you.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. But it's so like it sounds like very precise timing.
It is very precise timing.
So that is what we're trying to practice.
I still can't do it.
Step 4, we're practicing that precise timing.
I mean, you don't.
Have you ever been able to do it?
No.
Okay, so
I just
we're
end up
on
blowing
step.
myself up.
You and I are on step 4. We haven't got past step 4 then.
Yeah.
We're at the practice stage. But at this stage, you're trying to build muscle memory. You're trying to get to the point where without thinking, with someone talking to you, you're on stream, you can do this bomb trick no problem. Yeah. The bomb jump, no problem. I can put those planks over the water, no problem, very precisely. Muscle memory, that's what we're trying to do. We're not worrying about full runs right now, just building muscle memory with those tricks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the first sheet.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Ready to send it? Whee.
Oh.
Okay, got there. It went.
I still went farther.
It went.
I went farther.
For you podcast listeners, you never get to see us throw the sheet, so you might have to tune into YouTube to check it out. So, the last thing we should mention here is that, and I touched on it, but if you can do this distracted while having a conversation, listening to a podcast, music blaring, you're probably pretty good at the technique.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't.
I was struggling at the plank.
Yeah,
technique.
my brain is too ADHD to do this stuff.
That's why we're fans. That's why we're viewers.
Yeah, that's why I watch Point Crow.
This guide is to set you all up for success.
Yeah.
So, the next step 5 is the Angry Panda calls the other side of learning. So this is we're practicing tricks. Now we're going to break the runs up into the sections, into those splits, and practice those whole sections, right? The goal here is do the same as above, but build on some of that muscle memory. So we're building muscle memory for little techniques. We're going to build muscle memory for whole sections of the game.
Yeah. Like learn how to do this very specific thing that has to get you from here to here.
So whatever your split is, I think about a Pokemon game, right? Whatever your first split is, maybe it's getting to Brock, the first gym leader.
Getting your Pokedex.
Getting your Pokedex, that's a good split. Practice everything in that time frame. And practice another split. You want to be able to do this whole chunk of the game, muscle memory, right? So, and the goal of this is so that the simple things, the average things, the bulk of the things you're doing are muscle memory, so you can put your attention on the things that you need to work on. Because there's going to be techniques that are harder for you, right? But if there are some that you have mastered, I got this locked in, I can focus on the things I'm struggling with.
Most people can do a wind bomb. Most big speedrunners.
You have to, right? It sounds like it's necessary to get a top time.
Yeah, there's also BTB, which is bullet time bounce.
Really? What is that one?
It's almost the same, but you don't use bombs, you use a shield, and you have to have an enemy in a very I can't English right now, a specific spot, and you jump off a ledge, make sure you have your shield on your feet using shield surfing.
Okay.
Pull out your bow, and during bullet time, you'll hit the enemy on the head, and you'll just launch.
You just launch? That's cool. So step 4, we practice those techniques, right? But I guarantee in the Breath of the Wild, there's going to be sections where you use the bullet, what'd you call it?
Bullet time bounce.
Bullet time bounce, BTB. You're going to use that. In the same section, you're going to use that wind jump as well.
Yeah.
So that's what we're practicing in step 5, is putting these techniques together.
Yeah, most people use the bullet time bounce as soon as they get the paraglider because there's an enemy that can line up perfectly with where you need it to be.
That's perfect. That's super handy for a speed run.
Yeah. Thank you, Red Boko.
Thank you. So the goal here, you're trying to get those cues, those references, the tells in the game that know you're on the right track. So that's step 5, more learning. We'll just say it's more learning.
Yeah.
So what's step 6?
It starts.
Yeah,
Finally.
We got to step 6 and we're ready.
You're ready to actually start.
You're ready to start speedrunning. Look at that.
It's been 17 hours since you learned about the speedrun.
You're ready to
Finally
go.
did it.
It's been days. It's been a week. You've been practicing. It's been a year. You're ready to go. So what you're gonna do when it starts, you practice the techniques, you practice the sections, time to put it all together.
Yeah.
You're gonna do a full run, and you're gonna just completely destroy your casual runs. You're gonna destroy that baseline. You got it all together. We're gonna build some confidence. We're a speedrunner now. We're gonna see what that difference is. We're gonna put our muscle memory to the test. We're gonna see what our times are, right? And then we're gonna do this so we get a time we feel really good about. And then we're gonna go look at the world record again. We're gonna see, now that we've put ourselves to the test, we pushed ourselves to the limit, how are we comparing?
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna compare your techniques, your times, you're gonna side by side with that world record run. Where can I save time? What is something that I'm struggling with that they're not? Just do a little comparison, right? And what I really like that a panda said here, an angry panda said here, and he's angry, remember that, he's just angry, is that it's important to practice the areas you struggle with, but not too long, right? You never spend too much time practicing specific areas because you'll lose muscle memory for other sections of the game, right? Say you're struggling with a specific thing, practice that a little bit, but not days or a week like we were in the, step 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna practice, but then we're gonna keep doing these full runs. We're gonna keep repeating. And someone else in the community, in the post, in the comments, Boris, a corn king. Is it a corn king or acorn king?
I don't know.
I think it's
Acorn.
I think it's Acorn. Boris Acorn King on Reddit said in the comments that it's always record every single serious attempt. If you're on step 6, always record the attempts, because you never know when you're gonna pull a rabbit out of the hat and get the record. You never know when you're gonna have the God run, as we call it, where everything just works for you. RNG lines up, you're smooth, you're focused, you got it, right? And Boris Acorn King said this because he was practicing for, I think it was Spelunky. He was practicing for that, but he didn't record, and he said, I would have had the world record if I was recording.
Sucks.
So, thank you for the advice. We're sorry to learn from your mistakes, Boris, but we appreciate it. So,
Thanks for your mistakes.
We are going to warn future speedrunners from your mistakes. So,
Listen to him.
so we'll repeat that. Always record your serious attempts. If you don't succeed, you can just delete the video, but always record them. So that's step 6. We finally started. What's step 7? And
That's you.
oh, that is me. Step 7 is called the reset trap. Why you should avoid it.
Yeah. Don't get caught in the spiral of, I didn't get this perfect.
I didn't get it. I didn't
I'm
get
gonna
it.
restart.
Reset.
I gotta try it again. Oh,
Reset.
I didn't get it again. Ugh.
And me being stuck on stage 4, I can say that I got in the reset trap a little when I was practicing Terraria. So what will happen is people will begin resetting because they lose a minimal amount of time on a split, and assume that it's just a wash. It's totally impossible to recover. But this is false, right? There are many famous runners who've messed up and still got the world record.
Yeah.
And recovered time in a later split. So don't get caught in this reset trap of like, I didn't get that, let me start over. You need to, back to step 5, you gotta get through these sections. Back to step 6, you gotta get through the full runs, because maybe you're better at a later splits, right? You can recover that time. So don't get caught endlessly resetting. And he points out here that resetting repeatedly for even the most minor thing, it'll burn you out really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
That'll kill your joy for a game very quickly. Even if you love the game, you're resetting over this one thing over and over and over. Like I did 10 practice runs for me. That's nothing for speedrunning, but I wanted to see what it was like, and I was like, man, I'm dying. I don't think I'm a speedrunner. I'm dying here.
I'm just a fan.
I'm just a fan.
I just want to watch.
We're fans and viewers, and that is okay, right? We're getting it out there, and maybe this will inspire someone to speedrun. If it does, let us know. We want to know how you're doing. Let us.
What's your record? What's your personal
record?
best?
What's the game that you're playing? Let us know in the comments.
Or the email.
Or the email, yes, at shareddiscoveryshow@gmail.com, which we'll tell them again.
Or the Twitter.
Yeah, or the Twitter.
We don't have the Twitter.
We do have
We do, but we forgot it.
Forgot to write it down. So you can let us know there too. So don't get caught in that reset trap. So you're not caught in the reset trap. You're practicing full runs. You're improving. What's step 8?
Community help. Turn towards the community, ask for help.
Absolutely. The community is very welcoming.
Very friendly.
Very friendly. And
unless you steal their record.
don't steal it. The thing is, like, how do you steal a record?
Like, you get help from someone who's #1 and you just get their record.
Well, what I found actually in doing the research about this is that speedrunning, well, big, we said there's 1.5 million people on speedrun.com. That's a very small population of gamers, right? And then there's 34,000 games. So each game might have a couple hundred people that are playing this game endlessly. So what happens is...
A lot of people playing Mario Odyssey, though.
Yeah, what happens is that this is the thing they do thousands of times. They want to tell you about it. They want to tell you about this optimization, this technique.
They also put their...
They want to help you.
They also put all their techniques in a YouTube video.
Exactly. So they want to help you about it. So if you can reach out to the world record holder, the top 5 players, ask them about their techniques. A lot of times, I've heard that they'll even hop on Discord calls with you. They'll message with you. And you can just talk about the techniques and the strategies. And say you get the record, you get a record, someone beats your time, go ask them. Go ask them what they did differently. Because the community loves nerds, love talking about what they love, right?
Yeah,
they love talking about the games that they love.
Look at the show.
Look at the show. We love talking about games.
Look what this is.
So the community is very helpful and very respectful. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for those techniques, right?
And if you steal their record,
it's not stealing a record, you're competing. It's not stealing, you're not taking. Stealing would be, I recorded your video and submitted it as mine.
oh, well, yeah, there's that.
That's stealing.
There's also faking a run.
But beating someone else, what I've found is beating someone else in their speedrun is just encourages the community to try and try harder. And it's like a friendly competition. It's not a stealing thing, but there have been cases, it's very small, so we won't linger on it too long, but faking runs or copying other runs.
There's a lot of people who fake Minecraft runs.
And that's,
Poorly.
it's a small part of the community, and that's what having good moderators are for.
Oh, yeah.
So step 9, final step here, is called looking up tool-assisted speedrun strategies. So this is called tasks. We touched on this earlier when we talked about the tool developers. And so a speedrun or playthrough composes precise inputs recorded with tools such as a video game emulator. So what this does, what this task program does, is it assists the run to help players hit the goals that are theoretically possible, right? So these are like hitting like a couple frame input that you need to hit, right? And what you can see on speedrun.com too is there's this category for the tool-assisted runs, right? So what you can do is go look at those and see if there's like, is there anything that I could do as a human?
I mean,
try to implement that into my
there are some Minecraft speedruns which is like predetermined seeds. Or like, this is the most optimized seed we have found.
Yeah.
Use this one to get that record.
For sure. Because in those games, like I was having that with Terraria 2, is like you have to, when you start the run, you have to make a new character and generate a new world each time. So that's another part of the... It's not always the same, not the consistency there. So these tools speedruns can add consistency, and you can start looking for strategies. So I think about Gen 1 Pokemon games, right? The tool-assisted speedrun is probably like 10 minutes faster because of the specific inputs that the game is able to hit that humans aren't able to do.
Using
right?
speed up.
So what is that?
Make game go faster.
Nope, there are skips in games that you can do if you hit a precise timing. But humans aren't, we only have so fast of reaction times. So with the tools can do that faster, right? Robots can do that faster than we can. So what you're gonna wanna do, you're approaching the world record, you're up there, you've been practiced, we're on stage 9, we're on step 9. Look what the tools can do, look what the robots can do and say, I can do that too.
Yeah.
Maybe I can implement that into my run. So those are the 9 steps. So we'll just go over them real quick, just as a refresher here on the way out. Do you remember them? Step 1, pick a game that you love.
Pick a game.
And then a percentage that you want to do.
Research.
And probably part of picking that is join a Discord.
No, yeah,
Join a Discord. Step 2.
Research.
Research. Step 3. Get a baseline, right? And then step 4. Learning.
Little practice.
Learning time. So this is where you're gonna practice the glitches, the little techniques. Then step 5. Here we go. We got a sheet. We haven't thrown this off the table yet for those.
I'm in.
Yeah. So this recap is actually like recapping from memory here for those podcast listeners. We threw the sheet off the table. But step 5, you're gonna go in and do more learning, or the other side of learning, where you're going to go deeper. You're going to break up the run into the sections and practice full sections with those techniques.
Yeah.
And then step 6, it starts. You got your baseline, you've been practicing, you're going to crush that baseline.
Oh yeah.
And this is where you're going to do those full runs, baby. You're going to go beginning to end, whatever the run that is for you. If it's the butter percent, the 100%, whatever it is. Dog percent. You're gonna go beginning to end, and you're gonna do that on repeat. You're gonna do a little bit of practice, but not too much, right? You don't wanna lose that muscle memory. Step 7, we wanna avoid the reset trap.
Yeah.
We don't wanna get caught in this loop.
Don't get caught in the vortex.
Don't get caught in the vortex of, I need to start over. I need to start over.
I didn't do this exactly perfectly. I'm gonna do it again.
I think I could gain back a couple seconds, so I'm gonna start over.
I'm gonna gain back a couple milliseconds.
That's when you're really in the reset trap, if you're doing the milliseconds.
I mean, if you lose like 3 minutes, then I think it's okay, but.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on if, like, think about Pokemon Legends Arceus, a 100% speedrun. That's 177 hours. If you lose 3 minutes, whatever.
You lose an hour.
But if you lose 3 minutes in a Legend of Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, any percent, which is 25 minutes, that might be a wash. But you'll know that because you've done the research. That's step 7.
Your power goes out.
Step 8? What is step 8?
Go ask the community.
Ask them for help. They're great. They're nice. They love this. They want to tell you about the thing they love. Yeah. And then step 9, look up the tool-assisted speedrun. See if there's anything that the tools are doing that you can implement into your runs.
Yeah.
So, I hope that helps you guys.
Yeah, it helped me a little bit.
It helped me a lot. Like, as a viewer, I learned a lot about the community. I've been watching speedrun videos, but I've learned a lot of terminology from this, a lot of techniques that I might try, just as a casual gamer, to even just improve at things. So I got an idea, a question here for you on the way out, the bottom of the hour.
Yes.
Right, I learned that last time. I said top of the hour last episode.
Yeah.
So at the bottom of the hour here, we said we're fans, we're viewers, but if you had to join a community, speedrunning community, even if it's a fan or viewer, which one would you want to join?
I think I'm gonna stick with fan.
You're gonna stick with your answer?
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna Tears of the Kingdom. We're gonna join that.
I'm a casual player for that.
We're casual. We're already part of the community.
60 hours.
We're viewers, right? We're fans, and for me, I think I in practice I already did join the Terraria one. Yeah. Terraria community. I think another game that I would want to join is Gotcha Force back there, because those speedruns are ridiculous. I watched a couple of the any percent ones.
Watch someone play that game.
It's wild watching them use a menu to code the game inside the game. How long does
that take?
That took them about 2 minutes, which I'll show you after this video.
You gotta show me
I'll show
this.
you. To do it for me would probably take 30. But that wraps it up. Thank you all for joining us on this episode of Speedrunning, my favorite little part of community of gaming. I think it's awesome.
Shout out to Point Crow.
Shout out to Point Crow.
Taught me a lot.
Small Ant taught me a lot.
Doug.
Scott's thoughts. Shout out to the mods, the fans, the runners out there. And shout out to BCTV for letting us put this show on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much once again. We have an email that we said earlier. If you want to send us questions, tell us what games you're speedrunning. It is shareddiscoveryshow@gmail.com. We're officially on Spotify, but you know that by now, 12 weeks later.
12 weeks later.
12 weeks later, you know that by now. So check us out on Spotify. We should be on Google, Apple as well. Leave some reviews, leave us some comments there. And just want to say thank you for joining us on episode 12 of Shared Discovery. Before we go, I just want to make sure you guys have fun. Be kind to others and just play some games. And what do you got to tell them?
Be good people.
Be good people. I love it. I love that.
It's simple.
And run some games, join the community. That's fantastic. So I think we're good. I'm gonna send it.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
I failed.
And again, come podcast listeners, come watch us.
Come watch YouTube.
Watch us throw these sheets like true podcasters. I think I would join probably a Pokemon community if I could. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Bye-bye.
And stay tuned for vampires next week. Yeah. We just teased that a few episodes ago.
We did. We did.
Which Pokemon game would you do?
Pokemon Snap.
Pokemon Snap. That's interesting. So that wraps us up. Thanks for joining, guys. We're just gonna talk about games the rest of the day. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.